Good evening. From Walnut Hills School for the Arts, my name is Garrett Murphy, a graduate of the class of 2008, and I'd like to welcome you to the fourth evening in our series, Winter Art Crush. Our series aims to offer you a peek behind the curtain at what happens in each of the 5 art majors here at Walnut Hill. And tonight, we focus on the Visual Art Department. We'll be joined by some of the department's faculty, and then we'll bring on some of our talented young artists to share their work with you. But first, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the wonderful director of the Visual Art Program, a stalwart member of the Walnut Hill community, Jim Woodside.
Thank you, Garrett, and thanks everybody for joining us for our Art Crush presentation. I'm Jim Woodside. I'm the director of the Visual Art Program. I have been in this position for quite a long time, but I won't say more than that. And I'd like to introduce 2 colleagues of mine, Ken Tighe and Eileen de Rosas, 2 of our full-time faculty. Next, without further ado, I think we will kick it off to getting to the kids and their artwork. I'd like to welcome all the students for joining us, and we're going to have a chance to look at some of their artwork. I'm very excited about that. And first, I'm going to introduce Geffen Moore.
Thank you, Jim. I'm Geffen. I'm from Teaneck, New Jersey, so I've been boarding at Walnut Hill for 4 years. I'm a senior, and I've had a really awesome time here.
Thank you, Geffen. And now I think I'm going to ask Eileen, who has control of all the images, to tee up a few pieces of Geffen's work to share with us.
Thanks, Jim. So this is some of my ceramic work from this past semester. We were doing a project called Dinner and a Movie, and so we based off our ceramic pieces, whether that be sculptural or throne ceramics. And I decided to look at the film Requiem for a Dream, and I created 21 total pieces. But here are a few. I kind of focused on making pieces with a larger belly and like some taller pieces that had outward lids. And then with my glaze choice, I wanted to have this theme of progression. And so in my total pieces and in my final arrangement, there was kind of this progression of light to dark, and you could see that a little bit in this photo. But yeah, I had a really fun time throwing all of these pieces. I was online last semester, so it was awesome to be back in the studio and really focus and refine my throwing skills.
Beautiful.
This was another piece from this past semester. I really enjoyed this. This was in painting with Ken. We had this really awesome project that I kind of turned into like a family portrait. So this, we started off by drawing contour lines of our face. We drew a bunch of them, and then the class chose one that we were going to use for our final painting. And then I made this collage, and in a lot of the photos in this collage, a lot of the faces that you might see are actually pictures of my family, my siblings, and my parents. And then the rest are just photos that kind of remind me of my family or other pieces of media that I felt fit in with the collage. And so I have my face there too, and the big glasses you see are also mine. So it was really kind of fun to make a family portrait out of this project and paint a lot of the different pieces of the collage with different styles and handle each piece of the painting differently, and create this really kind of busy, but I feel very lively of a painting. It was really fun to make. This was some of my apparel work. We had an avant-garde project for our collection, and I chose to do a collection on utilitarian made useless. So I went to the library actually, and I looked at a few books of uniforms and a lot of military wear in the past wars, but I also was really interested in the idea of juxtaposing kind of the more utilitarian aspects of that clothing and mushing it with kind of more elegant and more elegant pieces. So I chose to do that with fabric choice and structure. So the top I drafted is kind of reminiscent of like a royalty piece of clothing. It has like this tufted band, and the fabric I chose was satin, so it juxtaposes pretty jarringly, but like nicely with the skirt, which is made up of quilted puffs. I didn't hand sew, but I sewed all of these puffs together. It's kind of like reminiscent of a quilted blanket. And just to continue the juxtaposition, I put a hoop skirt underneath that was lace. And so it has both like these elegant kind of pieces and then also rough edges and the quilted skirt. So there's a little bit of both in this piece. This was my last ceramic piece that I made this past semester, and it was made from tar paper construction with ceramic slabs. Our project was a shrine project, and I was really interested in the idea of transaction, both in money and relationships, and kind of giving and taking in those things. So I made an empty vending machine, and the buttons were made with stamps, and I kind of was really interested in the idea of things that money can't buy. And so the stamps on the little buttons represent things like knowledge, health, immortality, justice, love, things like that. And so I was interested in the idea of making an empty vending machine with the things you can't buy, and kind of twist the idea of transaction on its head. And I thought it was interesting as a shrine project because I feel like we definitely value transaction or worship transaction a lot in our society.
Wow. That's really great. Geffen, thanks for sharing those pieces, and thanks you for your articulate descriptions of them. Really, really great. So I think we're going to move on to the next student, and I'll ask Eileen to tee it up for us.
All right, next up we have Winnie Goldstone.
Hi, I'm Winnie. I'm a junior, and this is my third year at Walnut Hill. This piece was for Eileen's ceramics class, and we were told to make a shrine to something, and I chose to make a shrine to my childhood imagination. I ended up making 2 big rock formations and then a third one with a castle on the top. And the 2 rock formations did survive the kiln, but the third one shattered into many, many pieces. And I think it kind of adds a layer of complexity to the piece that it didn't really have before. It was very straightforward, but I wasn't really disappointed in how it came out. It was definitely a learning experience, but I'm happy with how it turned out. This was for Jin's figure drawing class with a live model. This was just a black and white drawing with markers of the figure. And then Jim often asks us to look back at our work later. So I think maybe a couple weeks later, I went back in with a purple colored pencil and a yellow marker. And I think it really helps the piece compositionally. This was also for Jim's figure drawing class. I think this was the day that we had a bucket of plastic shapes, and the only marks we could make were by tracing the shapes with a marker, which I had never done before, and it was a fun activity.
Yeah, you did great at that too.
Thank you. This was for the same assignment. I think I only used shapes that had more crisp edges instead of the circles like the other one. But there's a lot of assignments in this class that are not like a traditional drawing class, and it's really fun.
Yeah, you made some great breakthroughs that night, Winnie, some beautiful work. Thank you for sharing that. Those are beautiful pieces, and I think we will go on to the next student.
Thanks a lot, Winnie. Next up is Sophia Kim.
Hello, my name is Sophia Kim. I'm a junior, And throughout my artworks, you may notice additions in different techniques, specifically Korean traditional folk paintings or like drawings. This one is a painting from Ken's painting class last fall semester. I incorporated Korean folk paintings with more vibrant colors in the bottom half and more calm color schemes on the top of the painting on the canvas. I tried this because I always had a motivation for these techniques as I was a third culture kid, and I always wanted to express my cultural background, which is why I've used these composition and styles into this project. This artwork is from my printmaking class, which is also from last fall semester. We were supposed to collect some plants outside in our campus, and we used them with two different ways. We used printing their silhouettes, and another one is printing their details with their expressions of the plants. And I tried to use the magenta color because it gave more of this Korean, once again, traditional feeling. This is also from my printmaking class. I observed a flower and I drew them with a crayon, oil crayon type, and painted it again with printmaking style. And this is from my ceramics class with Eileen last fall semester. As I said before, I tried to incorporate my background, my heritage, and I used the idea from the Parasite movie, which talked about a lot of political social structures, which is where you can see the stairs on the cup coasters. Lastly, I just wanted to thank all of our amazing visual arts department faculty members for such an amazing support and lessons that they have taught me over the few years I have been here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sophia. Wonderful artwork, and thank you for those beautiful words of that you just said. That really, really, really great stuff that you've done there. Also, will before we move on, I'll embarrass Sophia really quick by hopefully her mom is watching. Her mother is a student that Ken and I taught many years ago. So it's kind of one of our first grand students. I'm not sure what you would say, but great work.
Thank you, Sophia. And next up, we have Soleil Veils.
I'm Soleil. I'm a returning sophomore and a boarding student here on the Hill. This first piece is a piece from darkroom photography. And our first assignment when we were introduced to the cameras was just to take photos of things that represented light, pattern, or texture. So during my walk in Natick Center, I took a photo of this lock I found on the fence, which I thought the fence resembled the pattern element of the assignment. So I took a photo of that, and it was really nice. Next is the painting assignment with Ken that was briefly mentioned earlier. For this one, I decided to incorporate different parts of me as well as my family. For example, Pop Rocks was my mom's favorite childhood candy, and Uno is a card game that we all play at home together, and then my city in the bottom, Atlanta. So it was just something that kind of made me reminisce on my childhood memories and just things from home. So it was a nice way to connect with my family who wasn't here with me. This next one is from Sculpture with Eileen. We were given the topic of nature and we did an installation project. So for me, I decided to take the theme of diamonds and geodes, and I decided to create a piece 100% made of cardboard. And I built it from the floor all the way to the ceiling. You can see the projector up there. So I just used that, and then I used the cool color scheme to give the feeling of geodes and diamonds. So this last one is from Apparel with Stephanie. And we were given the assignment to upcycle some denim jeans that she gave us from her old closet. So I just decided to recreate the pants into a top, a little cool crop top with the logo on the side and some fringe just to give it some extra flair. So it was really fun because it was my first time sewing in general. So it was really cool to create something out of jeans that are meant to wear on the bottom and create it into a top.
Great piece. Thank you, Soleil. Okay, Eileen, I'm going to move it along to the next student.
Thanks, Soleil. Next up, we have Carolyn.
Hello, I'm Carolyn. I'm a sophomore at Walnut Hill, and I've been here since my freshman year. And this piece is something I did last semester in Jim's figure drawing class. I believe it was a class where we were just given materials and said to have fun. So I chose ink to draw the figure, and she was like sitting on this like wooden bench, and I didn't want to draw all the stuff in the background, so I did sunflowers instead. And I put some like gold on it just to make it sparkle. I think it was fun. And yeah, this was another thing from last semester, Jim's figure drawing class. This was one of our longer drawings of the figure, and we were given a ton of materials, and I decided that I kind of wanted to do this like monochrome green portrayal of how she was sitting, and so I kind of started with the darker, went like forward. I actually really like it, so I'm happy that I got the opportunity to do it. This was a piece from Jason's digital illustration class last semester, and we were doing movie posters actually. And I wanted to do like one of those fair boardwalk scenes, and I was still getting like used to like digital art as a medium, and I just kind of went wild, I guess. It was super fun to like figure out the lighting and draw the fireworks in the background. This is a piece from Eileen's ceramics class last semester, and it was the dinner and a movie project, and mine was based off of Assassination Classroom. One of the main staple characters from Assassination Classroom is like Koro Sensei, and he's an octopus. So I thought it would be very fun to have this like octopus like cup holder, bowl holder thing where its head's kind of exploding and holding the bowls and the cups. And this is another piece from Jason's digital illustration class. We were doing tarot cards, and while I wasn't super familiar with tarot cards, I just kind of wanted to draw this like queen figure kind of sitting and looking down on somebody she was going to sentence to death. I thought it would be interesting. Doing like the lighting from the stained glass in the background was actually my favorite part on the knight's armor. I really enjoyed learning more about digital illustration from Jason. I think it's helped me improve wildly.
Great job, Carolyn. Thank you. I always love the boldness in your work. It just comes through in all your pieces. Really, really good. And you described it all very well. So thank you very much. And Eileen, I will ask you to tee up the next student.
Next up, we have Alexa.
Hi, I'm Alexa. I'm a sophomore. This is my second year at Walnut Hill. This is a painting, an oil painting I did last semester. The assignment was sort of a collage around this sketch of our face that we did with our non-dominant hand. And so I tried to make the painting all about my personality. There are some music artists like Biggie Smalls and Gorillaz who I really like, and also some sort of cartoon characters. There's Stitch and Mario. And this was a very challenging project for me, but what I really liked about it is that you're not focusing on painting one thing. You can move on to different objects. So I would work on a face for a while, and then I would move on to sort of a cartoon. And it was a nice balance. This is a sculpture I did last semester out of clay. We were trying to mimic natural objects, and so I chose a walnut, and going about this project, I realized it would be easier to sort of form a ball and carve into it rather than try to build up a structure. But I put oxides on it as well, which I think just gave it this really nice burnt feel, and sort of just finished off the project for me. This was also for sculpture class last semester. It was the Skin and Bone project, where we took reeds and connected them using twine, which was really interesting, figuring out all of these knots in order to be able to hold up a structure and make it sort of bend the ways you wanted it to and just form this overall shape. And then connecting those reeds with rice paper. And it ended up, and we lit it from the inside, and it made this really cool pattern where I was trying to make a walnut originally, but it ended up looking almost like a shell, which was really cool to see it sort of transform throughout the process. This was also for sculpture class.
Great sculpture you've done. A lot of great stuff.
It's an installation piece, and the base is chicken wire. It was my first time working with chicken wire, and it's really difficult to get the chicken wire to bend how you want it to. But I sort of found a rhythm. I would like step on it and bend it around my shoe, kind of put my whole body into it. And I got this really nice skull shape, which I then added origami to give it more life. And sort of the eyes are meant to mimic flowers, so sort of just to get more involved with nature, if that makes sense.
Beautiful work. Thank you, Alexa. Really, really impressive stuff from all of you. Really, really good, really good. It's great to hear it. Great to hear you talk about it again, actually, and to see it again. Okay, Eileen.
Next up, we have James Green.
Hi, my name is James. I am a second-year sophomore, and I'm a day student, and I live in Walpole, Massachusetts. So this piece was from Eileen's sculpture class, and it was also part of the installation project. And we were given the theme of natural. So I wanted to try to create and explore the idea of when nature invades spaces that humans have created. So I tried to make a decayed house made out of wood, and use the pole in the background as a tree to kind of create showing what wood normally looks like in nature, but what it looks like when we turn it into things. And I really like the idea of exploring nature's evolution throughout space and how spaces that humans make change and fall apart as time goes on. It's been something that's always interesting to me. So I'm really happy about how this piece came together. I spent a lot of time on it, and it took up an entire corner of where the installations were. It was like close to like 6 feet tall, I think. So spent a lot of time and effort, but I'm really happy with how it came out. And even though this is the only piece of art I get to show with everyone today, just want to say thanks to the art teachers for helping me get better. And I've just improved a lot over the 2 years I've been here, and even with the art like that I have in my background behind me, like from the painting from Ken's painting class, so much better than painting I did the first semester last year. So I just want to say thank you guys. Yeah.
Right.
Wonderful work,
James. Wonderful.
Thanks.
You've done great stuff.
Next up is Andrew Glass.
Andrew.
Yes. Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a junior here at Walnut Hill. This piece is from Eileen's ceramics class. It was also from the dinner and a movie prompt. I was inspired by the 1960s French movie Les Yeux sans visage. In this movie, like, there's this plastic surgeon, and he's trying to recreate his daughter's face, and there's lots of ideas of masking and identity. And I really want to bring that forward with this double mask, with the dove shown and the feathers. So, yeah. I made this during my January project last month. Our group's theme was equity, and I felt like equity at its raw state was like bones and that sort of thing, but I also wanted to manipulate them in a way. I thought that the more we start to deform as a society and create systems that uphold inhumane inequities and stuff like that, that will start to reflect in our bodies. So this was kind of like a future evolution of a human. So there's some bones in there that aren't actually human. This is from my painting class last semester with Ken. I was really inspired by like the body and how we are all like created very equally, and babies and pregnancy and stuff like that. So this is from sculpture class last semester. It's the installation project to do with nature. I was really inspired with like nature as in the body and my relationship with my body. I really wanted to turn this installation project into like a performance art piece. So I designed this outfit that I was in, and I interacted with the sculpture and had it captured and recorded. So it's kind of a moving sculpture in a way. It is made out of ballet tights and blue rope and red rope to kind of show the anatomy of the human body and stuff like that. So
beautiful. Thank you to all the students for joining us tonight and sharing your work with us. We're really proud of you. I genuinely mean that. It's really impressive to see the work and to hear you all talk about it. And I learned something new each time. So that's been really, really great. It's also really wonderful to see you all without your masks on. You know, it's just what a relief. But anyway, thanks again. Like I said, we're proud of you, and you all have a great night. Okay.
Thank you to our students and to Jim, Ken, and Eileen for taking part in tonight's Crush, the fourth in our 5-part series where we share with you the incredible work happening in each of the 5 art majors and the people that make this community such a special place. We invite you to tune in tomorrow, Friday, February 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern, for our Dance Crush, where we will learn about the marvelously collaborative student choreographic project in a discussion led by 2 of our dance students with a few of the choreographers and a composer who were involved in the project. From everyone here at Walnut Hills School for the Arts, be well and have a great night.
Hi, I'm Macy.
I'm Kennedy.
And I'm Yuki. And we're your hosts for the 8th annual telethon, Hearts for the Hill.
Coming to you live from the Delbridge Family Center for the Arts.
Sunday, February 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.